What is going to happen later today in Super Bowl 59? What's going on, everybody? Good Sunday morning, and we're here. It is Super Bowl Sunday. The matchup has been set for a couple of weeks now. All we need is a final result. All we need now is a game and a final result, and we can be off to the off season for good. We don't have to think about what the season is going to be. We will know exactly what the season was. And I know that this is not the matchup that a lot of football fans wanted. I definitely see it in the comments. You can definitely see it on some of the meme pages. This isn't the matchup that people really wanted. And I understand why. It doesn't take a genius to understand why that might be the case. But let's talk about it for a little bit regardless. Let's say what needs to be said about this matchup. We got the Kansas City Chiefs and we got the Philadelphia Eagles. Definitely a lot of NFL fans out there that are not fans of either of those teams. That obviously, if you're a fan of a team, you always want to see that team in the Super Bowl. But there are a lot of teams people would have preferred, even minus the fandom part. And I get it. I get it. But what I'm going to say is I don't dread this at all. I do think that this is a matchup between the two best teams in the league right now. I don't think Detroit was in the conversation anymore because they had so many injuries that there was just no way they were going to be able to be competitive defensively. So once you remove Detroit from the equation because of all the injuries, I do think you are looking at the two best teams. The Chiefs have a remarkably good defense, and they have an offense that hasn't been that great this year, but you know what they are capable of doing at any time, at any point. At a moment's notice, they can just take off and get it done when they need to the most. And on the other side, you have probably the best roster in football. And I would say that even when Detroit had their players. I think the Eagles have the best put together roster in football and one of the best rosters we've seen in some time. And that's with a quarterback that can barely throw the football more than 12 yards accurately. And the fact that they're here again with that quarterback after making it 2 years ago with that quarterback, that tells you how well put together this team is and how well structured this organization is. So I do think that this is a very deserving Super Bowl match. Neither of these teams are here by accident. Neither of these teams are here by mistake. Neither of these teams are the beneficiary of a bunch of other teams falling apart. Maybe Philadelphia is lucky that Detroit had all those injuries throughout the season on defense, but I don't think there's anything wrong with thinking that Philadelphia has a better roster. I do think Philadelphia probably has a better roster than even healthy Detroit. So I'm down with it personally, and I'm looking forward to the matchup. I want to see what happens in this game because, to me, Philadelphia has the better roster. They have more talent. They have better players. But the matchup looks pretty good for Kansas City. You take a look at what the Eagles have done to their defense. It's been one of the best defenses in the league this year. Vic Fangio's running that unit. I have a pretty good sense that Andy Reid's offense is going to be just what the doctor ordered to really neuter that Eagles defense. They are very dependent on forcing teams to check it down and take the short play, take the quick, easy play over and over and over again. And the Chiefs are a team that is willing to do that. The Chiefs are willing to just take this short, easy play over and over and over again and run the ball if they have to and punt every now and then if they need to and not panic and not think they have to go hit a big play and not shove it into a defense that is prepared for it. So I think that the matchup of Andy Reid's offense versus Vic Fangio's defense does favor Andy Reid. And even defensively, I think that this tilts to Kansas City in a matchup-based argument. But can the talent overcome? Because I do think Philadelphia, you look at what they've built with that running game, which is extremely dominant and about as unstoppable a running game as we've seen outside of Baltimore in recent years. You look at what they built on defense with their pass rush, which isn't as good as it was 2 years ago, but still plays at a high level. They've got interior pressure they didn't have 2 years ago with Jalen Carter. Even though they did lose Hargrave, replacing him with Jalen Carter has allowed them to continue to have that same effective presence, and the loss of guys like Hassan Reddick hasn't really hurt that much. So, assuming that their secondary is healthy, which has been a little bit of a question mark, and by the way, actually, Philadelphia has some health-related question marks on their roster up and down right now because of that illness that's going around. I'm hoping that they're all good to go. That would really annoy me if a Super Bowl got decided because of a bunch of illnesses in one team's locker room before the game. That would be... I don't need to deal with that, and none of us need to deal with that, regardless of who you're rooting for. But there you go. If everybody's healthy, then I think the talent favors the Eagles, and I think that the matchups favor the Chiefs. They say that football is a game of matchups, but I do wonder if the talent can win out here. Kansas City, I don't doubt how good they are, but they have been somewhat reliant this year, and to a certain extent even last year, on the ability to flip the switch. They don't have a stellar offense. They're not dropping 40 points every other week. They're not putting up elite numbers offensively right now. What they are dependent on is when they need it, they can get it. They can go the whole game just kind of sleepwalking, and then at the end, when they need it, they can flip the switch and go get a drive for a touchdown. That's how they've been operating for really 2 years now. And one day that switch is going to flip and nothing's going to happen. And I wonder if it could happen in a game like this against a very good, very talented defense in Philadelphia. I wonder if this could be the week where they flip the switch at the end of the game. They're down 4 with 3 minutes left. They need to go drive for a touchdown, and nothing happens, and Jalen Carter's sacking Patrick Mahomes, and it's just it doesn't happen. So this one's really tough for me, but I will say this. I'm pretty cool with whatever happens in this game. I don't mind the Chiefs winning. I don't mind the Eagles winning. I know that some people have their things they're annoyed with. The Chiefs, the fact that they've won 3 Super Bowls in the last 5 years, all the referee stuff, some of their players being particularly annoying public presences and media presences, and it's inevitable that it happens with any team that wins a lot. I remember in like 2013, 2014, 2015, when everybody loved the Warriors, and then they won 3, 4 titles, and then everybody hated them. The Warriors didn't really do anything other than win, but winning was enough. So, just by virtue of the fact that the team has been a dynasty over the last half decade, people hate them. So, I get that. And I get that Eagles, they have this reputation in their fan base that they produce a lot of really obnoxious fans. I get that too. I've personally had pretty positive interactions in my lifetime with Eagles fans. Many of my best friends over the years have been Eagles fans, and I have not had the negative experiences with Eagles fans that other people do. So, for me, I'm fine with either of these teams winning, but I think I am leaning towards... I think I'm going to pick the Eagles. And don't get me wrong, it's a very tough one, and I will not be surprised no matter what happens. But this is going to be an instance where I'm going to bet on the talent and the roster composition to overcome the matchup deficiencies. And I may regret that, because the Chiefs are so well coached, you would think they would be able to take care of their business. The Chiefs have Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo running their team. If there's any team out there that is going to take advantage of matchup advantages, they're going to. But I think that the Eagles just have enough to get pushed over the edge here with their dominant running game. And I think that there will come a point where their defense is able to make a game-flipping play. Like last time it was the Chiefs who made the game-flipping play. Philadelphia looked like they were good to go in Super Bowl 57, and then they had the fumble return for a touchdown. And that sparked them to the point where they could even get back in that game, much less win it. Like that game looked like it was toast. And then Nick Bolton goes the other way, and suddenly everything wakes up. A lot of people forget about that play in hindsight, how much that flipped the Super Bowl. That game looked like it was going one way, and then suddenly the floodgates opened after that moment. So I am going to go with the Eagles, but it's really hard. And I'm telling you right now, this is a gambling stay away for me. If I were to bet on this game, it would not be on the winner. I'd find something else to bet on. Let me know what you guys think, though. Let me know what you got. I'm not really going to be rooting for any one team. I'm fine either way. I don't care if the Chiefs win. I personally do not resent teams just for winning. There has to be more for me, so I don't hate the Chiefs. Like, it's really hard for me to get upset about seeing good things happen to Andy Reid because I love Andy Reid. He's one of my favorite people in football. So to see him have this success has mostly been something that I've appreciated as a football fan. And I don't mind if the Eagles win either because they're so well put together. And I admire the way they do things over there that I think it'd be cool if they won. So I'm good either way. I'm going to watch this game with relatively low stress. And we'll see what happens. And we'll see what there is to say about it. I'll probably make another video tonight. Probably won't go up until about 7:30 or 8. But let's say what need be said after the game is over. And we'll have hopefully learned something from these 3.5 hours. All right, so give me who you think is going to win. Give me what you're rooting for. Are you even going to watch the game? I know some Seahawks fans are saying they're not even going to watch the game because they don't care. So, sound off in the comments. See you guys later. Go Hawks, and let's watch the Super Bowl and hope for entertainment.